1, 2, 3, and...
From the Waukesha Police Blotter, 1:12 p.m. A woman was performing a spiritual ritual on a dead opossum in the road at Springdale Road and Blue Mound Road by throwing a goldfish and windshield wiper fluid on the dead animal. She then pulled out a Green Bay Packers lawn chair and yelled "Repent" at the dead animal. Police reported that the animal was removed from the roadway. This was shortly followed up by anything that hit the floor at work to be sprayed down with ketchup, yelled "Repent," and covered with a napkin. It too was removed from the walkway. Police were not involved. Today was a really hard day. I got called up to St. Mary's to be with family because they were transporting my dad to hospice. And today seemed more like a bragging session about all the things that Patty and Pam knew that I didn't know. Considering that they had cut me off from any information at the hospital, so that even if I called the nurses and I asked or I went in person showing a birth certificate, I was told that I was not allowed to know my father's state of medical condition. And for all the fact that my dad may or may not have requested that I be there, he barely acknowledged that I was. So Dad's in hospice at St. Mary's. I don't know the specifics, as I guess that's none of my business, and at this point asking is moot point. He was given morphine for the pain, up from aspirin, and they're basically trying to keep him comfortable. Everyone's in town now and waiting. Apparently my job isn't important enough that I should go home, but Pam's is? I don't have a timetable, although offhanded comments about how he doesn't sleep. I guess we're talking sundowner syndrome. This could be days or weeks or months, I have no idea. No idea what to do when I stand in that room with my sisters having each other while I stand alone. They talked with each other, joked while the nurses and I hovered around the door, trying not to scream. They doted on him and weak in his bed while I sat sullen because I didn't know what to do and didn't want to do anything to make it worse. Any movement or lack thereof could provoke them. The nurses trundled him up and passed him into a stretcher, and the sounds of his screams of pain are still ringing in my ear, begging nurses not to touch him, flinching as they went by. I felt a little guilty thinking, I seem to remember once that was me, flinching at a touch. But it wasn't nurses I flinched at. When we went to St. Mary's, I parked the car far away from Pam, and Patty wrote with Dad. By the time I found my way up to where they took him, Pam had already had most of the tour. A young volunteer named Andrew was proudly showing off the facilities. A kitchen and showers for family members were, should they need it, and small seating areas for conversation away from the patient, and a couch pulled out into a bed for those wishing to stay the night. And all I could think, until they wanted to explode, was, this is where they take you to die. This is where your children sit and divvy up your stuff while you die. This is where they eat. This is where you go when you die. It's clean and it's sterilized. It may look homey, but don't get comfortable, because this is where you go to die. Pam went up to say goodbye to him before she went home. And Dad flinched badly, thinking she was a nurse. And she said, Dad, you don't have to worry about the poking and prodding or them drawing blood anymore. You're just here to rest. And die. Did you mention that, Pam, before you guys discussed that before I got here? Well, you guys are all on the same page. May I ask a question? How long are we going to be here? At the place where they take you to die. Not going to ask that. I'd probably look like a psycho. Because I said little to nothing, Patty joked with Pam that, oh, she doesn't bite. The hell she doesn't, so do you. However, I noticed Pam neither acknowledged me nor said hello the whole time I was there. Just slick little jabs at my expense, which I might have been given a shit about if I wasn't so horrified at the whole ugly thing. I'm not sure how well I'll sleep tonight. Not sure how much use I'll be at work tomorrow. But I'd rather be at a rev with the health department and Ken there than go back to that place where they take you to die with my sisters. If I felt I had a place to stay, I would sleep in the car. 19 degrees, and I would sleep better in my locked car than the place they take you to die. Not sure if I'm up for it. Not sure if it will work. But I've been in a funk for months. Stopped working on my art September. Haven't sold any art since Mom died. And I have a ton sitting in storage. Think about going back to vending to get rid of some stuff. For something to do. Somewhere to go that's not work. Alright, it's work, but it's not work. The fucked up thing about being me is that as a kid and as a teen, I was treated as a burden. The pain in the ass. I have no friends, and when I do, they're not real friends. You get used to people being around and only giving you anything because they have to. As an adult, that fucks you up, because then when somebody really does want to be around you, your reaction is, no you don't, no one ever has. Or you want to do everything for them because they make you feel like you're worth something. What really sucks is that pity friendship, or the one that just wants to take advantage of your resources, and then you're right back to square one feeling like a fool. I actually have to ask if I'm looking into things or making a bigger deal of things than they are. It's depressing when the answer is yes. Congrats, someone was nice to you, but you're not friends. I just sit in my own head trying to figure out how to tell the difference between an act of kindness and an actual, genuine act of friendship. With as busy as people get, it becomes impossible for me to tell. They buy each other coffee at work, or have offered to buy me a few cups, but these people do a lot of things paycheck to paycheck, and I don't want to take out of their pockets. One friend bought a friendship mug with only 2 of them on it. I acted happy for her and said, oh, she'll love it. But inside I was like, I see. Not part of the group then, yeah? No. Funny how there was a recent request for photography services for free, though. Now seeing those mugs and t-shirts, I think of that. See that? That's not something you're a part of. I finally got down to watching Top Gun. Glad I watched the behind the scenes before rewatching the movie. Last time I watched it, I think it was with my dad. It was one of Dad's favorites for the longest time. Made me imagine the conversations we would have had. But knowing my old man, it wouldn't have happened. Would have ended in an argument. But it would have been nice to pretend a game of model or Navy shot. And then remember how cool Star Wars was when it came out. Saw that with my dad too. And Last Crusade. Nice to look back and smile rather than to get upset by all the bad shit that's happened to them.
Stop being an idiot.
My 2020 review would not be complete without telling you about my bucket list trip with Matt to Orlando. You have to understand, Matt's afraid to fly. He's also afraid of crowds. So this was no small feat. So since I was working full-time, I decided to take my COVID check and spend it on getting him out to a vacation he would never have another chance in the world to take. Now you have to understand, he's a huge Star Wars fan. And so we spent the first night in Disney Springs. And at every chance, he was asking me how to improve his photography and teach him more how to use his camera on his phone. The reason that we went was due to the limited park capacity. Because of COVID, there wasn't going to be a better time for him to experience the park, especially with his crowd phobia. That phobia has always kept him away from theme parks and Orlando. But Disney was still closed, and we did Universal. Matt and I had a great time, and he's super excited to go to Disney next year and get his lightsaber. We had drinks at T-Rex and watched the meteor shower. Too bad Rainforest Cafe was closed, because that volcano is so sweet. Had to include this picture of the service dog, one of the most colorful, sweetest looking service dogs I've ever seen. We only went for a weekend. And despite how much of Disney Springs and Orlando was shut down, we still had a blast. June 15th. I know you couldn't make it, but I went anyway. I should have gone a week ago. Most of the roses are going away, and I missed the wisteria in full bloom. I know you wanted to see that. They replaced the lilies with roses, which is not as nice, I think. The purple and pink buttons are replaced with purple and yellow snapdragons, framed with boxwood bushes, and it reeked of bunny repellent. I guess they've got a real problem with bunnies this year. I saw a half dozen at least. And I could hear you in my memory complaining about them eating your roses. But it was only a memory, and it drifted off with time. But I remember when you bought those roses, like how happy you were, and how proud you were, how you took dozens and dozens of pictures just in case the rabbits ate them. And it made me smile. So I took this one and I thought of you as I did throughout the day. And I wish that on your birthday you weren't so far away. But I'm sure since you're so quiet, that you're about your business. I thought I'd take this and leave it here, just in case you stop by. As if 2020 wasn't bad enough, my best friend Matt, who I took to Florida, and who often comments on my videos, got into a horrible wreck. We'd been fighting for a few weeks prior to the accident, and I did not answer his text the night of the accident. It was an apology for what he'd said when he was drunk. It was 3 weeks before I was told what happened, and it took 7 days to track him down to talk to him. Thankfully, no one was killed. However, Matt was badly injured and remains in a care facility until he can regain the ability to walk. Persons, not knowing exactly what happened and what went down, made assumptions and said some very nasty things about Matt after the accident. "15 years, man. I was not ready to say goodbye. Not to Sam and Dean. The ending gave me nightmares for days, mostly about how Sam got closure with John. But no matter how much I tried, I could not get the same with my dad. You see, I got involved with the fandom really late. Didn't see how much fun they were until 2018. Didn't actually go to a convention until 2019 with some friends. I didn't know how close the fandom was. And with the show gone, and COVID, so were the cons. Jared, Jensen, Misha on stage were sometimes the only thing that could snap me out of my funk. Hey guys, I might not have posted as much as I wanted to, but the world isn't what it normally is today. But along with the 13 pairs of boots I found in January, and a whole bunch of reasons to put them on and keep marching, I'm gonna take it a day at a time. Post when I have something to say, and maybe try and make it lighthearted and funny. After all, growth is painful, change is painful, but nothing is as painful as being stuck somewhere you don't belong. In remembrance of all those we lost in 2020. You can shed a tear because they're gone, or you can smile because they lived. You can close your eyes and pray that they will come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that they left for you. Your heart can be empty because you can't see them, or you can be full because of the love you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live for yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember only that they are gone, or you can cherish their memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind and feel empty, or you can do what they would want. Smile, open your heart, love, and go on.